anyway, and Jordash and what was his name?
Ty
is gone now, and they're not anywhere around. And they're having Christmas, and they're so lonely for her, and everybody's crying. And back then they didn't have any telephones, so they couldn't even call her on the telephone and tell her, "Oh, we miss you so bad." So they was all sitting around on the porch, and it was just like summertime outside, and everybody was so glad that it was warm because there was room for them to sit down outside, and that way when they didn't want the turkey that Doosie made them eat, they could throw it to the birds, and if they didn't want their mashed potatoes, they could feed it to the skunk. And it was a skunk. They thought it was a kitty cat, but when they looked, it had a white streak right down the back. And all of a sudden, everybody started screaming and saying, "Run, run, it's a..." And all of a sudden, sprayed every one of them. And you talk about stink. When they came to the door, they said, "How are we going to get inside without Doosie knowing? Because if she smells the smell, how could she keep from smelling the smell? There's no way she won't smell the smell. What are we going to do?" "I know," said Jacobin. "We'll go. Daddy will do to us if we jump in that creek. It is December and Christmas time and winter time." "Well, it's not cold." "You're right, it's not cold. Let's go jump in the creek and wash off the stink." So out to the creek they went. When they got out to the creek, guess what?
What? It doesn't wash off because
even though it was warm, the creek was already frozen and there was ice on top. "Well, never fear," said Samson. I gotta get these names down, don't I? When I make the recording for y'all, I'm gonna change everybody's names. And when you get your tape, you'll say, "Oh, now I know." Okay. Anyway, they got to the creek, and when they got to the creek, it was frozen. And Samson said, "Do not worry, I have an axe, and I will break the ice." And they said, "But won't it be cold water under there?" And everybody said, "How could it be cold? You see how warm it is out here, don't you? It couldn't possibly be cold." "All right," he said, "let me get the axe." And he got the axe, and sure enough, crack, crack, and he cracked the ice. And it went floating on down the stream, and now there's just water. "All right, who's going to be first?" "Well, not me," said Jordash. What's your name? Kaylin. KK. "Not me," said KK. "Well, not me," said Blueberry. "Well, not me," said
Kelsey.
Kel, whatever. We gotta change his name. I'm gonna get this down right.
It was not Patty.
I don't remember.
And then she has, why would Kelsey
Anyway, Brooklyn said, "I am brave and I will go first." But Brooklyn, you're always the one that gets the sickest. You can't jump in that water. You watch me. I can do this. Blueberry said, "Well, I'm as brave as you are. I'll go with you. Let's just hold hands and jump." And Brooklyn said, "All right, hold my hand tight and don't let go." And so they held hands like this, and they went like this with their other hand, and into the water they went. Well, guess what happened when they went into the water?
Froze.
They was so cold they could not move. They were just frozen. And everybody was saying, "Come on, get out, get out." But they couldn't move. And all of a sudden they went straight back in the water. And when they did, and the water started going down the creek, guess what happened? Under the ice they went. Everybody looked and said, "Where are they? Where are they? They're gone. They're under the water. They're under the ice. They can't get out." Everybody's screaming. Everybody's crying. They don't know what to do. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? Oh, and everybody just panicked. And they was just running in circles and climbing trees and screaming and yelling and hollering, "Where's Papu? Where's somebody to help us?" Nobody was around to help them. And they could see their dresses just going right down that creek. "We got to get them out. They can't breathe. They can't breathe. They're going to die. They're going to die." All of a sudden, the guy said, "I know what we'll do. We'll go downstream. We'll cut the ice, and we'll jump in and catch them when they get there. No, you can't do that, boys, because you'll die too. And then we'll all just be left alone with no guys. Oh, yeah, maybe y'all should run on down and do that. So the guys ran on down the stream, and they could see them. They said, hurry, hurry, they're getting there. And they were going down under the ice, under the ice. Well, the guys all jumped in, and they took the axe, and they cracked the ice, and they said, boys, this is going to be cold. Can we do it? Levi said, yes, we can do it. Joe Bob said, yes, we can do this. Flip Flip said,
No, Flip.
we can't do this. Flip says, I can't do this. Yes, we can, said Joe Bob. You better not jump in the water. You'll be frozen. Don't you jump in the water. So all the boys jumped in and finally said, we can do this. So they jumped in the water, and oh, you talk about cold. They had frostbite toes, believe me. But they said, stand your ground, boys. And they could see them coming down through there. And they said, but what if they go right between us and we can't catch them? Well, we're going to make a fence with all of us guys. So they all stood together, and they put their feet down, and they were just trembling, they were shaking. And all of a sudden, sure enough, something hit them in the legs. And they said, there they are, grab them and get out. And they reached down and they grabbed them to get out. And when they laid them on the
beach.
It's not a beach, what is it? The bank. They laid them on the bank. And they was not breathing. And they was blue. They was just like frozen blue ice laying there. Oh, my word. They said, Blueberry, please wake up. But she was already turning from blue to white. And they said, oh, please, Jordash, wake up.
Jordash. Doosie.
Brooklyn, please wake up. Please wake up. She couldn't wake up either. But guess what? All of a sudden, they heard something coming out of the trees.
A bee?
No, it wasn't a bee. I remember back then they didn't have jets and all that, but they had these little old one propeller airplanes, you know, just little bitty propellers. And here it came. And they said, look, it's a bird. No, it's a Superman. I didn't even know who Superman was. I said, it's a
bird.
It's a plane. And look in there. Who is that? It's Jordash! And they landed the plane right on the bank. And Jordash came running over and said, I'm so happy to be home. Guess what? Ty got a new plane for a present for Christmas. And we flew home. And they said, but it's sad because look, laying on the ground here, it's Brooklyn and
Boo Bear
laying there on the bank, and they're froze.
Hey, bro.
No, they can't be dead, said Jordash. Quick, Ty, bring the
heater.
No, the
defibrillator.
the kit, the first aid kit. Quick, bring the first aid kit. What are you going to do with the first aid kit? They're laying there not breathing. They're frozen. Oh, is she dead too?
No.
So they got out the first aid kit. They came over, and Jordash said, wait till you see what I've got in here. It is a wonder thing. She opened up the kit. She pulled out this thing. It looked just like a picture of Doosie. And she said, wait till you see what this does. She turned it around. She ripped it open, and it was a needle that long. And they said, what are you going to do with that? And she walked right over to Brooklyn and said, lay still, Brooklyn. And she raised that big old needle, and they said, don't do it, Jordash, don't do it. She said, I'm not going to. I was just seeing if you was paying attention. So instead, she went in and she got this little tiny needle, and it was full of hot oil. And she said, watch this stuff. And she put it right in her arm there. And you could see the heat going up her arm, going up her face. And she began to breathe, and she turned pink again. And she said, Jordash! And she grabbed her, and she said, but what about Blueberry? Look at her! Look at Blueberry! And she went over and she grabbed her Blueberry, and she said, oh, Seal, have we got another needle? Don't tell me that was the only one we had. No, said Ty, we got 2. Matter of fact, we got 20 needles. Oh, good, she said. So she got out the other one. She pulled her arm, and she up her arm, up her neck. She turned all pink and frozen, opened her eyes and said, Jordash, you're home! What a wonderful dream! Everybody died. Everybody had a happy Christmas. They went running into the house and said, oh, but what are you going to do when we get in the house? How are we going to tell them that Jordash is here, that she came in that that big bird thing that landed over there. Oh, never mind, it won't bother her. They went running in the house, and all of a sudden, Doosie, Mama was sitting, Mama was sitting there rocking away, and when she saw Jordash, she said, "It's a ghost!" And she fainted and fell over in the ground. No. And the next time we come back for a story, she's going to be dreaming about something that happened 50 years ago. And that's the end. But guess what happened? He stumbled over top of Mammoth and fell on the ground and hit his head, and now he's out of it. And now we have to wait till we come back next time and see what they're both dreaming about.